Hey Mike, I'm so in with this set. I have my Dodge shirt on, I got a towel for when we take the car out, and legally, you have to have one of these if we're gonna be out at night doing some fishing. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah,
right?
Why don't you put that in?
This is what we're doing, right? We're gonna go fishing.
For anybody watching this doesn't know, this is a 1964 Amphicar, and as the name implies, you can drive this on the road or drive it out on the lake.
So it just depends on what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, as a kid, I remember seeing one of these come up to the boat launch, and most of the time in a boat launch, cars are kind of pulling out. This one was going forward, and I was about this high. I had no idea what it was. Then I watched the guy get out and do a couple things, jump back in, and drive off into the water.
That would
I was like, whoa, what the hell?
That would be crazy.
Now, a couple of cool things about this. First of all, 1960s technology. There's the AM/FM push-button radio. There's a chrome ashtray and a cigarette lighter. All the things you need for
1960s.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this is it has two door handles. So there's a door handle that just closes the door like a normal car. Then there's a secondary one that what it does is it tightens it up and it compresses the gasket so water don't go in.
Well, that way you don't sink. I guess that would be your equivalent to a drain plug.
Very important. And another thing I like about this car is if you've ever owned a boat, most of the time you have what's called a key floaty. So if for some reason you're handing the key to your neighbor getting out of the boat and you drop it, the key don't sink. So this car boat has its own key floaty.
Car boat or boat car?
Boat car boat.
All right, so anyways, enough of us lollygagging about an oddity that we have here in the shop. I mean, Mike gets cool cars and he gets oddities.
Rub rail.
And a rub rail.
For the dock.
I mean, yeah, modern cars don't have that. This one definitely doesn't have that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though.
But first of all, let me just say thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a cool one. We did a video like this a long time ago, but not to the extent of tools that we have nowadays aren't available. So that is what makes this like an updated version and actually a more efficient version than the first video that we ever did like this way back when. We're talking 8-9 years ago. Yeah. But I'd like to say thank you again. And also if you haven't before, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbor, tell the mailman, tune in, stop doing the route. Yeah, I mean, but so what exactly are we going to be doing to this? And
okay. Well, I'm glad you brought your beach towel. The reason why is because...
Oh, do you need me to remove this so that makes it easier?
Yeah, no, I don't get a mess on it.
All right.
I'm not going to sling anything, but just in case, then I got to clean it up. So the interesting thing about this car, it has a rear-mounted engine. And it's an old Triumph Herald, so British car, Triumph Herald engine, 4-speed. I think it produces around 50 horsepower. And the engine's mounted in the back with also a complicated transaxle system to drive the propellers that are down below here. But since the motor's back here, the radiator's back here too. So these louvers here are actually functional as they direct air to the radiator to keep the engine cool, whether you're driving on the highway or out on the lake. Now, because I'm going to be doing some polishing on the louvers, the first thing I want to do, just so I don't have to come and try to detail what I call splatter dots out of the black radiator and the black radiator shroud here.
You don't be that guy.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm not going to be that guy. So I'm just going to put a towel here. Now, the key thing about the towel is you got to remember to remove it before you start the engine. You don't want to get caught up in the fan and do a whole bunch of major damage. A lot of times when I'm doing stuff like this, I will actually take the key out, and where the key goes in, I will put a sticky note that says, remove towel from engine compartment.
I was just going to ask if you had any cool tips for that.
Yeah, so that's my tip, and I've used that more than once. I've never been that guy that left a towel or any kind of, something in the engine compartment, like when you're detailing engines or something, and then had it get caught up into the belts or the fan or any of that kind of stuff. We'll just set that down. Anyway, and then from here I can see the towel down there. So if I get any splatter down there, it's okay to clean it up. So working on intricate areas, and I would say louvers are about as intricate as they get. We're going to show you a couple other places. There's a couple ways to skin that cat. So the first way I'm going to show you is by hand. Most of you already own 2 of these. So since you have them, I'm going to show you how to use them. Now to do this, you want to have both a fiber pad and a foam pad. And always remember, fibers are a form of abrasive. They're a gentle abrasive, especially this is microfiber, but they still offer more abrading power than the smooth, uniform texture of foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to share a couple of tips and techniques. So this first one, I'm going to be using the Dr. Beasley's NSP 150. And one of the techniques I teach in all my classes for doing a lot of different things is I put some product down on the panel where I'm working to draw from, and then I use what's called the finger painting technique. And so I'm just going to take my finger, because wherever I go, I have my finger, so it's not like a tool I got to remember to pack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to apply some of the NSP 150 to each one of these louvers. Now, something, if for the guys and girls that just took my recent class last weekend, it was a 3-day class, you guys are going to remember, I teach this in all my classes, but I'm putting 2 things on the paint on these louvers, and it's important to understand this. So one is the abrasive technology, and the other is lubrication. And it's really important when working on louvers because you've got this thin, hard, raised edge. And if you spend any kind of time there at all, especially without some kind of lubrication, you're going to burn through it. And this trunk lid, or rear hatch, I guess is what it'd be called, has a lot of louvers. And I'm not going to be the guy that burns through these edges. So just like that. So I just covered it. Now there's another reason that I want to do this, and that's because this is what most people that I've seen do this. What they do is they put some product on one louver and then rub it. Then they go to the next louver, put some product on there, rub that one. But what happens is when you rub it, you kind of remove the product. And then if you got a long row of louvers, you can actually forget where you're at. I mean, you have to really focus on it. So by coating each one of the louvers with some product, I'd be able to visually identify which ones I've worked, which ones I haven't worked, by the volume of product on the louvers. So it's just it's a simple technique. So for this first one, I'm going to go ahead and just show you working by hand. I'm also going to take and lubricate my pad. Now, I don't know anything about this paint job. It's single stage. I've already done some buffing on the hood, and I've been pulling this beautiful teal color off on my wool pad. But I don't know anything about the paint job, so I don't know if it's thick or thin. So I always just kind of operate from the fact that it's probably thin. And the goal then is to just not to buff on these edges or you'll burn through, and then you got to get the touch-up paint out. So now to do this, watch, I'm just going to come in here by hand and just work this back and forth. And this paint has swirls, scratches, because it's single stage. It also has oxidation. And I don't normally try to get the louvers to be like 100%, but I definitely want them to be cleared up, shined up, glossy, and full of richness of color to match all the flat panels that I am going to buff by machine. So it kind of ties the picture all together when you polish out the louvers. Not polishing them out, they're going to be real noticeable just due to the oxidation level on this paint. Okay, so there's hand rubbed, and then at some point you can grab a clean microfiber towel, wipe that residue off, and inspect. And it looks good to me. So at this point, I would move on to the next louver, but I'm going to show those by machine. So I'm going to show you what I would do as a follow-up step. For a follow-up step, I would get something less aggressive, say like the NSP 95.
So you're going to do like a 2-step?
On this, I'm going to. Yeah, this is a show car detail. If it was just a mundane daily driver, I might just, it looks good in NSP 95, but I want to demonstrate the foam. So if you want to come down and really refine your results using a fiber applicator, come back with foam and repolish.
And what that's going to do is eliminate the fiber marks? Any marking
tally marks or fiber marks. So always keep in mind, fibers are a form of abrasive. And, I was at McGuire's when they introduced the microfiber DA system. And so a lot of people don't know the history, but it was a very noble goal that they had. And the goal was to get rotary buffers out of the dealership and the used car and the auction industries because they were leaving swirls everywhere. So they wanted to replace them with DA. So the problem is DA has nowhere near the power of a rotary. So how can you amp up the power of DA to get rid of the rotary, and the answer was to come out with a fiber pad. So if you doubt me at all that fibers are a form of abrasive, just look at all the different microfiber pads we have on the market today, and they're used for cutting, not finishing. Okay, so fibers are a form of abrasive. Okay, so rub that down, and of course you'd come back and wipe that residue off, and then in the Dr. Beasley's line, because you don't need to use a panel wipe, you could go ahead and that's ready to put a ceramic coating on right there. So that's one way, working by hand. And you can see the blue paint that I'm pulling off.
Oh, there you go.
So single stage paint. Okay, so the next way I'm going to show is using the Flex PXE80. When this tool first came out, I've named a bunch of the Flex tools. I named the Beast, the Super Beast, the Sea Beast. And I sent to the president and everybody at Flex an email that says, why don't you call this the Pixie? You know, just run the letters together, PXE, Pixie. And if you look up Pixie, it's a small fairy-like creature. And they just did not want that association with their tool. So hey, it's their company, whatever. But I still call it the Pixie. So it's the PXE80 or the Pixie. Now, the Pixie comes with a number of different polishing pads in different shapes. This is a barrel pad. I'm not sure what they call this one. That's kind of like a cone. I guess it's the cone shape. And then they come in different consistencies, like the
So
orange
that would be
is hard.
different cuttings.
Yeah, so they call this hard, but it's like a foam cutting pad. This would be foam polishing, the purple, and then this soft orange one would be foam finishing. So, but the thing about this is, if I bring this down here and I want to start buffing here, this pad is going to be really hard to keep part of it off this edge here, and I don't want to burn the edge. So here's a hack that I use. I just went and got some, this is, I think this is 80 grit. There you go, 80 grit. I got some 60 grit over there too. So I'm just going to turn this on. And I do this all the time when I want to make a custom pad. I just make my own pad. So, hold on, Nancy. Okay, I'm just going to take and grind away some of that foam.
Aw, you're so smart.
Boom. And these don't really wear out that fast. It's not like you're ruining anything. Okay, so now I've got this nice little thin foam pad, and I'm going to come back and I'm kind of go back up here. I kind of used up all my 150, so I'm going to show you again what I do is I just put some product out I can draw from, kind of like a painter.
All right. So that would be your palette.
My palette, yeah, the back is the palette, whatever panel. And I'm going to take some of this, I'm going to go ahead and pre-lubricate the pad. And the reason I'm doing this is because this thing, I'm going to put this on the low speed setting, but keep in mind, if I touch the edge, can you show how sharp these edges are? Yeah, they're incredibly sharp. Okay?
Yeah, and that would definitely...
It wouldn't take long at all to buff on this and burn through the edge. And, you know, look, that's just not how you're supposed to operate. So, okay, so I'm going to turn this on. And I always kind of swing this thing up over my shoulder here.
Comes back to the cord over the shoulder.
Now I'm going to come down here and do this one here. I'm going to bring the speed up. Let's see.
Now you're pretty much like drawing it.
I'm also using my finger, if you look down here, as a guide to really just keep me on the louver and not on the edge. And I'm shoving that down there to get that little strip of paint that's in front of the louver. You start seeing some of that blue paint come off, can't you?
Yep. Yeah, we didn't have this when we did that Porsche.
No, we did not have this. Anyway, so that's how you would use this tool here to get into tight places. And let's walk over here. Let me show you another place you can use this real quick. This is the most common place, I use these things, is the fingernail marks in here. I'd use the barrel for this area, but you can get in here easily and knock out all those fingernail scratches that people tend to put in by the door handles. Okay, so that is the Flex PXE80. Now, I have another little cool tool here that goes on the PXE80 or the Pixie.
Let me get in closer on that.
Yeah, so what this is an extension shaft, and this is made by the APS company, and it's carried by my good friend Scott Gauquier. I want to make sure I don't butcher this. Gauquier, Scott Gauquier at detaildivision.com. And they make all kinds of accessory items for the Flex Pixie, different types of shafts. And but this is just the extension shaft. I've got a light foam cutting pad on here, and what I like about the extension shaft is this gets the body of the tool away from the action, so I can more accurately see what this thing is doing. And I want to come up here and I want to go ahead and get some product on here. So I'm just going to spin this slowly.
Why are you doing that?
Because I want to lubricate that foam.
The edge?
Yeah, I want to lubricate the foam so it's not. It's softer. It has abrasives to do some polishing work, but it's not dry because that's very abrasive. Okay, so I've done this louver and this louver. Now I'm going to move up to this louver. I'm going to bring the speed up. And look at that, with like precision accuracy, just with that extension. And the thing you got to keep in mind is you could do this without it, but the housing for the Pixie would start to get in the way. So the extension really makes this tool a lot more functional for doing.
Plus, I think it makes it where you're able to see it better.
Yeah, it's just getting this body away from the action. So there's the third way to handle intricate areas.
Okay, we're on 3. How many more you got?
I did hand, 2 tools there. Okay, rotary polisher. Here is a 3-inch pad. Here's another way to do this. Again, I'm going to come up here. Again,
Moisturize your pad.
Get some product on my pad so it's lubricated. Excuse me. Okay, now, bigger tool. I'm on the 1 setting. Notice I hold the battery. And I'm going to come down here. I'm bracing my hand here. And this you got to be a lot more careful with. But you can do it.
So basically, if this is the only tool that you have, you can make it work. You don't have to run out and buy you a Pixie.
The key thing is if you could shoot that again. I'm pulling this back a ways at an angle, so I'm not running along that edge. So let's try this again. Let me put some
Go to the next one.
I could do that too. Okay. There's the next one. So there's really no polishing taking place on the edge.
You're not hitting that edge at all.
Okay. So that's 4 ways to do intricate areas. And then, say you don't have a small backing plate or any small pads, here's something else another hack. This is the Dr. Beasley orange foam polishing pad, and it's got this nice gentle taper here, but I need more of a taper. So check out the difference here. I put this down against my black shirt.
There you go.
And what I did,
same pad.
Exact same pad, but look at the taper I've created. And for that I used a piece of, I think this is 60 grit. So just some really coarse paper. And I just really ground down this foam interface back here in the seam. And now I'm going to stick this on a rotary, smaller backing plate. So I am 100% sure the backing plate is completely out of the way. You want to make sure that's centered as good as you can. I think I can get a little bit better though. I've already pre-marked mine. Boom, that's centered.
All right.
Okay, and then same thing. You want to take and lubricate the edges. Now I'm going to show you 2 ways to do that. The old slow way and the lazy man Mike Phillips way. So you could do this. Take your finger.
Finger paint.
Just spread some on. Just get some onto that edge so it's lubricated. Plus it has abrasive technology. So as long as it's spinning, it's doing work for you. But the way I like to do is just slowly kind of draw it in there a little bit. Get some product on there. Once you got it lubricated, you don't really got to do it again, but you can see I got plenty on there. Now this is a bigger pad, so you got to be careful. Come down here. You really got to have a sense of touch. I've been using the rotary buffer since the 1980s, possibly the 70s when I was in high school. I bought my first rotary in 1987. In fact, it's in my office. It's a Makita. It was the first model with a variable speed switch. And I keep it around to show people, if you're going to take a class on how to use a rotary, you really want to take a class from someone that's used one. And I can prove I've used mine because I use it so much the gears quit working. They completely don't even match. Anyway, so that's the 5th way to do that. And of course, come in here, wipe all this off. And then you could go to the next step, which would be, in most cases, go into a softer pad, repeating the process with the NSP 4095, which I put up there. But that's how I tackle louvers. It's also how I tackle intricate spots. Now, we have a couple places on here that we can show also that are
down in there.
very intricate. And for this, I'm going to switch back over to more of a full-size, well, we'll try the barrel cone since I got one here. The good thing about the foam is that it compresses into the shape you need. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this over my shoulder. I'm going to come up here, real slow speed. I want to get some product on here. And I don't worry
So
about...
the key thing that I'm taking is make sure that your pads and everything have plenty of product.
Yeah, so abrasive technology and lubrication.
Oop, I was bad. Got to turn my phone off.
I forgot to turn your ringer off. Okay, so now that you got this ready to go, I'm going to change hands here since you're on that side of me. Okay. Whoops, not my car. Okay. And if you just push on that, it'll conform to the space you're trying to polish out. And there's really no way, besides working by hand, you could ever get into tight places like this.
So thinking back over your detailing career, I bet you really wish that something like this was invented way back when.
Oh gosh, back in the east of the 80s. Okay, and I'm going to take some of this product. So again, finger painting technique. Put some abrasive technology and some lubrication where I want it. And then come in here and do some polishing. You know, I recently did I think it was a 1970 Challenger. And it had a lot of intricate places on it in the back of the car where I used this. Oh no, it wasn't a Challenger. It was a 1957 Chevy Cameo pickup. And the whole back is full of chrome. It's very ornate. It's a very beautiful truck. And it was all equally swirled out. So without this tool, I would not have been able to pull the swirls out. I could have got it by hand, but not as efficiently as working by machine because, you know, machines don't get tired. The human does. So, here's my collar. Anyway, that's kind of the class, is how to work intricate areas. I showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways, including
Let me
working
get
by
a
hand.
close up
So,
again.
the flexi, that's the shaft that goes on the Pixie. The extension that goes on the Pixie, working by hand, that's 3. Small rotary, small pad on rotary, large pad that's tapered, 5. 5 ways to tackle intricate areas. And the easiest and cheapest one, of course, is working by hand. The key thing, the takeaway if you're new to detailing is just learn that fibers are a form of abrasive, and you can use them to your advantage. But always keep in mind if you do any kind of heavy working with a fiber pad to come back with foam, because the benefit the foam has is, unlike individual fibers sticking up, you have a uniform texture, and this tends to kind of, I like to use the word shmoo over the paint as you're rubbing it to really perfect it. And but yeah. And of course, when we're done here, I got to buff out the rest of the car. This thing's in bad shape.
All right, this camera over here, Mike.
Okay.
All right, so that was very educational.
Yeah,
You're a man of many different things.
Yeah, we do sell the Flex Pixie and the attached to the Flexi shaft up on drbeasleys.com. But this isn't really like, I'm not trying to get you to go out and buy one of these, but I will tell you, if you do a lot of detailing and you work on a lot of intricate areas, this is one of those tools. If you spend some time with this tool, you can make it dance on paint. So it'll get you better results faster than this.
Faster, better. It's like the $1 Million Man.
Well, you know, my detailing style is I always teach this in my class. I talk about look, I love working on cool stuff. I mean, this is for me. This is a bucket list car. I've never worked on an Amphicar before. I probably never will when this one leaves the shop. So I love working on cool stuff, especially bucket list cars. But at the same time, my goal is to find a way to get in and get out. So get in, do the work, but do it as fast as I can. But keeping my quality high, and that would include not burning through any edges.
All right, that makes sense. Yancy here. I am going to be the voice from another. Going to go through your comments. So if you have any questions, get them in now, because I'm reading through all the comments right now, so we can get them answered live by Mike. So let me get back over to Mike. You going to hang right there?
Yeah, I'll hang right here.
All right. So we have first from Puerto Rico, ready to roll. Then he also comes in, hello, Yancy and Mike. Hey, Humberto. And same to everybody out there. Happy Thanksgiving, all. Go eat you some turkey.
Yeah, I'm going to wipe this off because after we shut down this video, I'm going home and I won't be back. I'm taking a week off, so I don't want this sitting here drying because I'm not going to get back to this car until basically the first week of December. And it might be here for the next class.
All right. Okay, now we have Grant coming in here. Great interest is one today. I'm doing a 2012 Harley Davidson Street Glide. So yeah, this would be perfect for motorcycles because they're known for intricate areas, right, Mike?
You know, asked me how many, not even just Harleys, but Golden, how many big bikes I've detailed in my life.
All right, Mike, how many bikes have you
3,
detailed in your life?
and I never want to do another one. You know, the way I like to say that is I like to let some other guy have the blessing. Okay?
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. I have a friend, Rob the Hardy Detailer. His name, his business website, I think it's robthehardydetailer.com. That's all he does is Harleys. He wouldn't even work on a Honda. But he can have that. God, it's so complicated. And I got some friends down in Miami. They took my class a few years ago up in Atlanta, Georgia, and they started their own shop, and they basically restore bikes now. They're so good at what they do. So yeah, happy to let someone else have the blessing.
Know when to say no. Okay, we have Rick Smith. Hello, everybody.
Rick is an alumni student, too, of one of my past 3-day classes.
Okay. Then we have Optical Clarity Detailing. Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for doing these videos. Happy early Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
I am ready for some turkey. Let's go here.
That looks good.
All right, you just walked out of frame.
I'm going to walk back in frame.
All right, we have Doug coming in here. First, I'm very happy to have found Mike and Yancy back on YouTube again. We're back. Blessing or a curse, we don't know yet. Has Mike ever done a video on polishing the plastic window on a convertible top, such as a car like this?
I have not done a video, but I've taught it in so many of my classes. I've been really fortunate in that a lot of my classes I've been able to bring in really cool roadster street rods that have windows that are just trashed like the paint. And you know, primarily the reason why, and I hate to say anything disparaging against any car owner, but here's the reason why. Most of the time, if I look behind the seat or the trunk of some guy's cool car or some gal's cool car, you'll find their towels. They're fully contaminated. They take and they scratch the paint and they wipe that window and scratch it up. So they're almost always scratched up. In fact, Yancy, you were in the back of a 34 Ford Cabriolet. We polished out the outside and it looked great, but the inside was cloudy and oxidized, and Yancy got on the inside and polished it out. And yeah, so we need, I was thinking about making this a video. The thing about this is it's a little bit complicated. In order to use this, and this has a lot of swirls. Let me walk out of frame and grab a light. See if you can show this.
Let's see here.
I got some splatter dots up here. This thing's really swirled out.
Oh yeah.
See it?
Yeah.
And I told the owner I would polish this out. So here's the thing. It's swirled and scratched on the inside and the outside. So in order to make a video that you guys can watch and have it have impact, and you can go, wow, that was interesting. I saw how he did it. It looks so much better. I have to first polish the inside out, leave the outside alone, use the same process on the outside, and then when I wipe off, you go, oh, it looks good. Because if I just do the outside, you won't think I did anything because you'll be seeing the scratches on the inside. So see how complicated it gets?
Welcome to the world of TV and video where you have to think things all the way through before you do it.
I have already thought this through. So I got to take and you can unzip this window.
Does that come all the way out?
No, I wish it did. The owner says the top is, I think his words was a pain in the rear to take the top off, but he takes it off all the time. He takes this out on the water all the time. So what I would do is I would take and I got a big fuzzy soft orange blanket. I would pull this out and I would polish this side, have it sitting on a blanket, so it's supported. Polish this side out. I got to tape this welting off, this fabric, otherwise I'm going to cream this out with the NSP product. Not that it wouldn't clean up, but I'd rather tape it off first, then put it back up here, and then we can shoot the video. So I'm down with that idea. I'll let Victor make that call. But yeah, it's a common problem. You know where it's really common is Jeeps.
Yeah, my Jeep has a hard top, so I can't help you there.
Well, but Jeep soft tops, it's usually scratched up and all comes
Oh,
down
no,
to-
they're always, because people are out there in the
up.
mud and they can't see, so they have to take whatever they can to, yeah, nope.
So it's totally possible to do. And you know what? For me, it'd be something I've never shown before, so I'd be down with that.
All right, now we have Rich Nelson coming in. Beautiful work, and thanks for sharing. Oh, okay, here's a question for you. King's Elmo, whatever. King's El Emo. King's Cell Emo. All right, I'm going to go with that.
We got to go with King.
Yeah, I'm going to go with King. How about that? Something we could do about holograms in hard to get places, or is it just smaller foams, or just get smaller foams. So say you're doing an intricate area and you have holograms.
Well, yeah, if you're using anything that's just spinning in a circle, you're going to leave holograms. There's two things about that. One is, even if I left holograms down here, you're never going to see them. So I'm not recommending to do hack work. I'm just saying you're never going to see them. But what I always do is I would come back with either I'd come back by hand and remove the holograms by hand. So I do that a lot on A-pillars. So on an A-pillar, it's really easy to take a rotary and knock out that E-pillar, but now you have holograms. But if you don't have the right pads or tools in orbital mode to fix that, then you can just come back and polish it by hand. The real key to removing holograms by hand always goes back to something I hammer on all the time, and that's you need good abrasive technology. So.
Okay.
And I know if people are watching this video right now and into the future, it's really easy, especially if you're new to detailing, to think, well, isn't all abrasive technology good? And no, it's not. I have tested so many compounds, polishes, and AIOs in my life, and I always test on black paint. And a lot of products will remove defects, but the problem is they leave their own defect behind. Now, how do you fix that? And even some of the big names out there, their abrasive technology is not the best. It's good, but it's not the best. So you really want to make sure you use great abrasive technology.
Okay, let's move on. We have Kirby coming in. Afternoon, Mike and Yancy. Okay. Hello there, Kirby. We had a question coming in for you. Mike, I had a coating company recommended a panel prep after the NSP before applying their coating. Will that diminish the foundation of the NSP, or will it still be there? Happy Thanksgiving.
No,
you need me to repeat that?
if you take a panel, so what Kirby's asking
That was Mark Kelly too, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, so what Kirby's asking, the Dr. Beasley's abrasive technology is our NSP, they're called NSP primers. So there's 150, 95, 45, and Z1. And Z1 is an AIO. The other three are dedicated. You could think of them as compounds and polishes. They do the same kind of thing. The thing that makes them different is the abrasive technology itself. They're perfectly round spheres, so they cut very differently than other abrasives on the market. And the abrasives are embodied in a nanogel. And the nanogel keeps them dispersed throughout the whole matrix of the nanogel, so they're evenly distributed. That's why you don't got to shake them. But they also come in tubes because they're so thick that they really wouldn't pour out of a bottle. But as you use these products, to Kirby's points, one of the things they do...
Mark is the one that answered that.
And also Mark, is they start to lay down a foundation of ceramic that the next steps can build on, whether you go to a less aggressive NSP or you go right to the coating. You don't need to use a panel wipe. You save towels. On soft paint, you avoid the risk of marring the paint, because keep in mind, panel wipes are not good lubricants. So if you spend all day on a black car with soft paint, perfect it, and you come back with the panel wipes for wiping, chances are good you're going to mar the paint. With the NSP primers, you wipe off the primer, go right to the coating. So if you're going to take another company's coating in their panel wipe and start rubbing, you're going to remove whatever anchor points was laid down. Maybe not all of them, but see, there's no way to know how much you removed or didn't remove unless you can shrink yourself down to the size of that superhero, the atom, and walk around on the surface and inspect it, which we can't do. So you just don't know. So you're kind of
really? You went there to that?
I have
atom.
an article on that, believe it or not, where I have a picture of the atom shrinking down, and I explain to people, because people always say, hey, if I clay the car, will that take the coating off? Well, I always put things in extremes. Will claying the car add more coating? Well, the answer is no. Well, that's the opposite of the word add, subtract. So anytime you're rubbing on something, you're not adding, so what's the opposite of adding? And but someone asked me that one time, so I found a picture of the superhero, the atom, shrinking down. It was a really cool picture, and then I explained what I just said. So
okay,
we're not at that point.
All right, then this was Doug coming back in, the one that asked about the window. I have a E30 BMW with a convertible top. I would love to learn the polishing steps under this window. stay tuned. Stay tuned.
You know, one of the key things, there's a couple of key things. I guess we should teach this class, but a couple of key things is one, we're fortunate in that this is white vinyl, so it's fairly forgiving. But a lot of tops, and possibly your BMW, it's either a black or a dark colored cloth. And this is where you've got to tape that off really well so you don't run the polisher and cream over that, because then you're going to be stuck with a toothbrush and some APC or something to try to get out. So it's better just to tape it off. And that does mean tape into the plastic. So that means a lot of times you'll have about 1/8 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch of plastic that just is not going to get hit by the spinning pad on a machine, and you just got to live with that. You can't always do perfectionist detailing on everything you do. You can get good, but not perfect. And besides that, the other thing is when you're working on this flexible plastic, even an orbital polisher, like what's the weakest tool out there in your mind?
Porter cable.
Porter cable, okay, 8 mm. You know, sometimes I hear people cut these tools down, but I'll tell you something, Porter cables de-swirled millions of cars, okay? And it's kind of the foundation that all these other tools have kind of built their legacy on, is the lowly Porter cable. But even the Porter cable, an 8 mm free spinning random orbital polisher, when you start pushing on this, you're going to generate a little bit of heat. And here's what happens. You can stretch this, okay?
Oh, that reminds me. Do you remember the lady, the girl that came in, she was going to be doing boat detailing.
Yes.
Her first job was a sport fisher with all this isinglass. Yeah. And what did she do? She found out about the heat.
She scratched them all up.
And warped them.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of different dynamics that take place, but yeah, it can be done. It's just, I guess I'm fortunate. I've buffed out a ton of this stuff. So many times, you know, I end up buffing out a lot of muscle cars, and convertibles, a lot of times they don't have the glass, they got the plastic, and I've done some that have actually turned orange with oxidation, plus swirls and scratches, plus a fogginess, like a yellow, whitish fogginess, and brought them back absolutely clear as glass, but it takes patience, and it takes knowing what not to do, not pushing hard, taking your time, because you'll heat it up and you'll warp it.
Okay.
And this, by the way, is completely flat. I'm not going to be the guy that warps that. I'm not going to be that guy.
All right. So now coming back, Doug has a good follow-up question, question. What would you recommend a ceramic coating for plastic window as a protectant? Would you put it on there?
After I get done with this one, I'm going to use Bead Hero.
Bead Hero, so just as a spray on?
Spray on, wipe off. But for things like this, this car gets taken to car shows, the top goes up and down, it goes out on the water. The guy that owns this, bless his heart, he actually drives his car. It doesn't just sit in the garage. And so it's going to see wear and tear. And so many people nowadays look for that, set it and forget it. You know, I want to do one thing and never do nothing again. Well, don't have that mindset. How about this? How about something that's quick, fast, and easy? I got Bead Hero. Let me show you how fast it is to use. It's over on a cart behind you, I think.
Behind me? Oh. Nope.
What? Yep.
I had to find it.
So can you zip up the other side so it's not flapping around there? By the way, the green Charger Swinger back here just got machine polish. It's got less than 500 miles on it. So it got machine polish. It has the doctor.
He detailed his car and coated it when it was supposed to.
I finished it last night, after work. So it has the Dr. B. I buffed it out with the NSP primers, applied the Dr. Beasley's MX, NanoResin MX, and when it leaves here, I'm going to show the owner this one product. So, you know, look, a lot of guys own cool cars, but they got no talent. They can't buff out a car, but they can do this, spray and wipe, okay? Try to keep it really simple for them. And I could just
with a clean towel.
I could just feel that go slippery just now. Just that one application is slippery. So instead of looking for one and set it and forget it, type of product, find something that's easy to use over and over again, and just practice what's called a PM. Preventative maintenance. You know, you change your oil before the engine blows up, before the oil's used up. You change the oil first. The oil gets bad over time. You can seize a bearing. So that's preventative maintenance. Same idea. Find a way that's quick, fast, and easy. Especially if you detail for money, you always want to show your customer great products that they can use and have great success with.
All right. And that would be all of the questions. We have Bunny Fartloads coming in here. He's saying happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and happy Thanksgiving to you too. For those of you that are getting ready to feast on some turkey, and those of you tuning in overseas, have turkey on us. Go have a turkey club sandwich somewhere. All right, so now, that was short, sweet, and simple. You do have a glue right there.
I know. I'm going to do some more buffing when we go off camera.
So did you learn anything today? Did you learn that you need another tool in your arsenal? I think Mike realizes that he wishes he had a tool back in his arsenal. Where are you going?
Oh, I thought I'd show everybody this. I've already started buffing out the hood, but you can see all the green paint coming off. When I'm done, this whole pad is going to be green.
You'll have to take pictures, which
I will take a picture. Usually what I do is when I clean my pads, I let all the sediment drift to the bottom of the bucket and then take a picture of that because it's a lot of, this thing is really scratched up bad. So
it's bad.
I'm going to take a lot of paint off.
Now, like I said before, thank you all for tuning in. And yes, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so have a very good Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your family.
Be safe. Drive.
And always be safe. And just like we always ask you, if you have ideas for a show, post it down in the comments down below. We will read them. Victor will read them. Jim will read them. Everybody reads these things. That way we can make sure that we're giving you content that you guys want, not what we want to do.
Yeah. We got some cool cars coming in. We got, I think, a Rivian. We got a beautiful orange 1940 Ford Coupe. I got another.
Is that what's
Swinger.
his buckets?
Huh?
Is that what's his bucket?
That's Dave. Yeah,
Dave's?
Chairman.
Oh, this is. Yeah, I love this
thing's
car.
Sweet. Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah. It's a very nice
So
car.
a bunch of very interesting stuff coming up.
So now let's just pretend we're all done here, and we're gonna go fishing.
Yeah.
All right.
Trolling.
Trolling. So what is the one thing that we need to do before we go getting out of here? Everything's done. What's the one thing we need to do?
We need to get live bait.
No, we need to get the towel out of there so we don't ruin the engine.
Pull the towel.
Ah, got him. So I thank you all for tuning in, and I got one.
I did one more thing. Upcoming classes.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about your upcoming class.
We just finished a 3-day class here. The class detailed 6 cars in 1 boat, 3 days, no chairs, no sitting, a lot of fun. Everything came out great. But keep this in mind. Coming up in January, I have a 1-day class here in Stewart as Saturday, January 20th. So if you've ever wanted to just take paint correction and ceramic coatings, put that on your calendar. I have a 3-day class coming up February 16th, 17th, and 18th. So that's 2 weekends after Mobile Tech Expo. And I have 4 classes at Mobile Tech Expo this year. One of them's a new thing they're doing. It's called Detailing 101. There's a bunch of different topics, but I'm actually teaching the Car Detailing 101. And I'm going to show you everything we teach in our 3-day class in a classroom setting. And I'll be using a lot of PowerPoint, a lot of pictures, but it's going to be very intense. It's going to be a deep dive. It's going to show you all the different detailing techniques you need to know and master to be successful in this business. And that's Wednesday, January 31st. Wednesday, January 31st from 1 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. in Orlando at Mobile Tech Expo. So if you're used to going up there on Wednesday and then going to the show on Thursday, you need to go up on Tuesday so you can take some of these classes on Wednesday. And you can go more information on that at mobiletechexpo.com.
Okay.
That's what I had.
You good?
Yep.
I think we need to get a graphic with all of your dates and places so that way people can take
It's going to go up on the drbeasley's.com website probably the first week of December. We've got 10 classes taking place across the United States.
Okay, so they'll be able to find information on
and one of them is going to be at the American Muscle Car Museum.
That's a cool place.
That is a cool place. This is going to be a 2-day class up there with my good friend Ed Diedicht.
Yep, no, that's a good one. All right, so thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to say goodbye. Mike, say goodbye.
No class next week. I'm on vacation.
I'm not, yeah.
First week of December.
Unless you guys just want to stare at me and I'll stare at you.
I'll be at the beach. You find me down there.
All right. Say bye, Mike.
Goodbye.